Chapter 16, Notice Letter. Ding. Ding. Antly heard the doorbell, quickly dried her wet hands, and went to open the door. Hello, I am the postman, may I ask if Miss Durua is home? There is an international express mail for her that needs her to personally sign for. As soon as Antly opened the door, she saw a young man in work clothes standing outside the door. Oh, okay, please wait a moment, I'll go invite her out. Antly hurriedly entered the house, went up to the second-floor study, opened the door, and was not surprised to see a girl sitting behind the desk, holding a thick book and burying her head in reading. Her long black hair was only gently tied behind her head with a hairpin, a few strands of hair were sliding down mischievously, her whole person looked lazy and gentle. Durua heard the sound of someone entering the door, waited for a while without saying anything, then raised her head from the book. Only to see Antly staring blankly at her without saying anything, asking, Antly, is there something wrong? The people in the house would never come to disturb her for no reason. Young madam, there is an express delivery downstairs that needs your signature. Antly regained her senses, explained the situation to her, secretly wondering why she was absent-minded. Express delivery? Could it be that the school on the other side sent a notice? Her eyes lit up a bit, she put the book on the table, then stood up and went downstairs. Antly saw her stand up, quickly took a few steps forward to support her. This big belly appearance made people tremble in fear. She looked at Antly stretching out her hand, helplessly smiled. Ever since 5 months passed, her belly was like a balloon rapidly growing, making people nervous every time they saw it. The old people in the house treated her like a fragile thing, even when pouring a glass of water, they snatched it. If she didn't guarantee several times that she was fine, she would have been trapped on the bed to rest. In fact, she only looked very tired, except for the unexpected fact that she was relatively sleepy and ate a lot. She didn't have any unwellness, but in order to take care of everyone's weak nerves, she had to let them take care of her. Wang Hai was a student. Because he came from a small city, although he had entered the top university in the country, the cost of living in Shangjing was still very high for him. He had started working overtime since the beginning of his first year of university. Because he worked carefully and meticulously, he was able to be taken care of by a leader who was a fellow villager and arranged for him to deliver mail in this neighborhood. So even though he had waited for a long time today, he still stood at the door waiting seriously, not looking around. Finally, he heard the sound of someone coming out. He only heard one person say, "It's okay, Antly." The voice entered his ears, and he couldn't help but praise it in his heart. This voice sounded really comfortable. He looked towards the person who came, and saw that Auntie was supporting a pregnant woman and slowly walking over. The corner of her mouth smiled faintly. He didn't know if it was because she was pregnant, but the elegant aura surrounding her made her originally extremely gorgeous features soften a lot. In his mind, he suddenly remembered the time when his roommate showed him the foreign language department's beauty queen. He heard that she had a beautiful appearance, a gentle personality, and was modest as a person. If it wasn't for her classmates accidentally knowing her, after 3 years of university, he wouldn't have known that her family's conditions weren't bad. However, he felt that the girl named Xiao Xian compared to the girl in front of him was really not as good as her. Therefore, he had to let those guys see what it meant to have people outside of people. Don't follow behind that beauty queen all day and fawn over her. Antly sent off the postman, and turned around to see Durua sitting on the sofa in the lobby watching the express delivery. So urgent? Antly glanced over and went to do her own thing. Being a nanny was the most important duty. Not all nannies were as lucky as Aunt Lu. Antly remembered that person who often treated the young lady like a child, making the old man nervous. Opened the express delivery. It was indeed the school's admission notice. Durua couldn't help but feel happy. Finally, it was not in vain that she spent more than 2 months busy preparing the admission application materials, and also had to look up the current knowledge of Chinese medicine, using this knowledge combined with her experience of Chinese medicine to submit a medical thesis. Fortunately that day she submitted the thesis, otherwise, she thought she wouldn't be able to be so relaxed. And could even enter a prestigious medical school. She lovingly patted her big belly. "Baby, mommy is so happy today." The baby seemed to have also caught the mother's happy mood, where her hand was placed, another baby protruded, another baby, she frowned in surprise, it was really rare, 3 babies were moving at the same time. Qishan's injuries that time got better. After being discharged from the hospital, he returned to the military school, because he was about to graduate, so he was sent to the army to be stationed, or to go on some missions. In the past few months, there were also a few days off. She didn't know if it was because she was pregnant with triplets, so the children developed quite late, or if the 3 little ones in her belly were relatively lazy, only waiting for Papa to return to perform together. She was 6 months pregnant, but they didn't move a bit. She remembered the nervous elders in the family at that time and felt a headache. Until one day Qishan returned home, the 3 little ones only had one activity with Papa who hadn't seen him for a long time. He was so happy that he couldn't find a direction. The next few days off, as long as he got home, he would lie on her belly, talking to the little ones, making the little ones excited to punch and kick their mother, making her restless. Normally, the babies are very understanding towards their mother. Only when she talks to them, can they stretch out their little legs. What's so happy? Grandpa Qi just entered the door and saw his granddaughter-in-law sitting on the sofa smiling happily. This child usually stays in the study reading medical books. She heard that, turned around and looked. It was Grandpa who went out and came back, quickly stood up. Grandpa. Don't, no need to stand up. Grandpa Qi quickly stopped her from standing up. Speak, what happened? She smiled and handed the notice to him. It's the notice of admission to a medical school in America. This is a good thing. He carefully looked at it, happily patted his thigh. Tell Aunt Lee to make more food, we should celebrate. She knew the old man was happy, and did not stop him, and stroked the bare feet that appeared on his belly. This child was the most mischievous. The other 2 little darlings had already retracted, only he had his bare feet stuck on his mother's belly. Grandpa Qi obviously saw it too. Oh, my good great-grandson also knows? He said with great interest. Just told the 3 little ones. They all twitched. She smiled with sparkling eyes. Ah. Grandpa Qi was very happy when he heard that. He thought for a moment and asked her, the estimated date of birth is in a month. Yes. She nodded, but maybe earlier. Grandpa was surprised when he heard that. Why? Grandpa, many fetuses won't last 10 months. She patiently explained to him. I think it's probably the last few days. She took her pulse. The baby was very healthy, and she herself had been feeling down for the past 2 weeks, so she should be giving birth in a few days. Like this. Grandpa heard this and immediately stood up. Then I must quickly call your parents back, otherwise, with only me, an old man at home, where can I take care of you? She wanted to call Grandpa, but it was too late. He had already picked up the phone to call. She helplessly touched her nose, so she didn't tell them earlier, but Grandpa was too nervous. He had already called her parents-in-law who were in the military district and Qishan who was in the army back. However, now the time was considered to be relatively suitable, they should be back soon. But obviously, she underestimated Grandpa Qi's nervousness and everyone's expectations for the 3 little ones. After receiving Grandpa's call, Father Qi and Mother Qi immediately started to diligently complete the work at hand and remind their subordinates of everything. A day later, they rushed back to Shangjing. Dad, Mom? She looked at the 2 people standing at the door in surprise. Why are you back so soon? This was too fast, right? Why are you the one who opened the door? Where's Aunt Lee? Mother Qi saw Du Rua's big belly and quickly handed the bag in her hand to her husband, and went forward to pull her daughter-in-law. This was their Qi family's precious baby. Aunt Lee is very busy. I'm fine, moving around a lot after giving birth might make things easier. She had already gotten used to everyone being nervous and anxious. Mother Qi had also given birth to a child, how could she not understand this principle? But talking was one thing, reality was right in front of her, so being nervous was still nervous, not a small part of it. Forgotten by his wife to the side, Father Qi had no choice but to bring his things back to the room, then also went downstairs to hear a bit of the situation. Little Rua, I heard from Grandpa that the child will be born in a few days, what's going on? Father Chi sat down, and heard his wife surrounding his daughter-in-law and asking her questions, and also asked, "Isn't it just over 8 months now?" "This is normal, Mom and Dad, the time it takes to carry multiple fetuses is shorter than one child." She seriously explained the situation to her parents. Moreover, the child has been moving quite frequently recently. This is also a sign of impending birth. "Really, really?" Mother Chi did not wait for her to finish speaking and also laughed happily. "Look." She pulled her husband to signal the other party to look under her hand. "Two bare legs are protruding here." Father Chi was excitedly pulled by his wife, a little embarrassed, but could not help but pay attention to his grandson. Looking over, sure enough on his daughter-in-law's belly, two small legs were slightly protruding, immediately feeling excited. But because it was inconvenient, he quickly moved his eyes away, his heart filled with anticipation for his soon-to-be-born grandson. Mother Chi lingered, stroking her smooth restored belly. The more she looked at her daughter-in-law, the more satisfied she became. Just thinking about her, such a little girl, only one pregnant person at home, felt that her family was really apologizing to her daughter-in-law. After finishing eating, she pulled her husband back to the room, and said to her husband, "I don't care about your discipline or rules, you quickly call and ask, see if little Shin can come back a little earlier." Unlike the past when he strictly followed the rules, Father Chi agreed in one gulp, choking Mother Chi's prepared basket of persuasive words. "They all say that the grandchild is not even born yet, but you this grandpa already love him." Mother Chi laughed and teased Father Chi. "Humph." Father Chi snorted, his face cold as he entered the bathroom, leaving Mother Chi alone in the place, laughing comfortably. Under the urging of Father Chi and Grandpa Chi, Chi-Shen also very quickly returned home. Du-Rua stood in front of the wardrobe, helping Chi-Shen get close to change. Not knowing where he had rolled over from, his whole body was covered in dust. As soon as he returned home he was urged by her to go to the bathroom to wash. Suddenly, a pair of hands hugged her from behind, both hands touched her belly. She couldn't help but frown. "So fast?" "Wife." He quickly washed up in the bathroom, and when he came out, he saw her standing in front of the wardrobe, not knowing what to think. He walked forward and hugged his treasure from behind, burying his head in her hair, feeling that no matter how much he hugged, it was not enough. She reached out to hold his two hands, tilted her head slightly, and was hugged by the man's neck. She bit her lips and said in a harsh voice, "Why did you shower so quickly?" He was definitely tired and didn't shower properly. "You didn't help me." Speaking up to hear, he looked at her resentfully. As soon as he got home, she didn't kiss or hug him, but stuffed him into the bathroom. She reluctantly turned around, kissing his eyebrows, his eyes, his face, but he was not enough. When she wanted to retreat, he pressed her head down, tightly holding her lips, soft lips, both gentle and patient, until she responded with a passionate kiss, intense and lingering, until both of them were panting. He let her go, he pecked her lips again and again, the air was filled with gentleness. "You don't need to look at me like that, it will make me want to kiss you even more." He resisted her eyes that still had the lingering aftertaste, smiled bitterly and said. He brought her to the bed and sat down, wanting to take a closer look at his wife. She was just brought back to her senses by his words, only to see that his hair was still damp, immediately took the towel. "Still haven't dried your hair." He enjoyed her reminder, letting her help him dry his hair. He stroked her belly. "Baby, Mommy feels sorry for Daddy. When you go out, you also replace Daddy to feel sorry for Mommy, be good." After feeling the baby's kick, he smiled happily.